Has anyone have a solid process for Terraform state migrations in larger teams? So I'm actually not sure, like, what is your use case for doing state migrations in the context where it would affect a larger team? So can you discuss the problem and what you're looking
Yeah.
for?
Maybe it's a larger project space is really what I'm referring to. So basically, the idea is, let's say you have a Terralif that you're breaking up into,
Oh
a
yeah,
bunch of smaller Terraform root modules, and you need to, move around resources, or you need to, remove a resource or import a resource, anything of like in the Terraform state management type of
yeah,
thing. When you and maybe it's not about larger teams, but it's more about like Terraform footprint. If you have a large Terraform footprint and you're like
yeah.
doing that type of thing, you can tell developer, like Sarah, the developer, to go off on her machine and do it and run it, and she can make it happen. But it doesn't feel like it's following the like infrastructure as code process. Um,
Yeah,
and it can be kludgy in that regard. Now there is a cool project which I know about, that does Terraform for migrations, for like Terraform state move commands, called TF migrate or something along those lines. Along those lines, I can look it up, but unfortunately, it doesn't support workspaces, and that's it. Um, and very cool. You know,
Interesting.
yeah.
I had seen TF migrate a while ago. This guy, I don't know how to say his name, Joyo, has a lot of really cool Terraform utilities like TF edit, TF lock, HCL edit,
Oh,
TF update, TF schema,
hmm.
all these things. I really dig it. And he's actually a friend also of Mumoshu or Yusuke as well.
Cool.
But so I didn't read this closely when I first saw it, and I was like, well, why would I ever want this? I mean, TF supports migrate. Maybe it's an older thing or whatever. But now when you brought up your example, it's not very GitOps friendly, and this is like a way to describe migrations as you would describe a migration for a database. Then yeah, I was like, an
Yeah,
epiphany right now. That's really
that's
cool.
that's kind of what I want, is the way to migrate, do it for a database. Now, unfortunately, this project is like, you know, it's a side project for him. There's actually an open issue in this repo, that talks about supporting workspaces, which I've asked him, pinged him on, and he basically said, "Hey, I'm not working on this anymore. It's too much
Uh,
work for me."
uh,
But it's I would love to have something like this, because once you really get on that GitOps approach, it makes something like this, when you're doing it at a
yeah,
scale of, you've got 50 workspaces in Terraform Cloud. How do you deal with those succinctly? It's
yeah.
nice to have something. But yeah, I was wondering if anybody solved this, in a more, bash GitHub action pipeline type of way, and had any opinions. Or if everybody's just running it from their own machines. And I mean, I think that's like a fine, answer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a problem I'm running into that I would like to solve better.
Well, this is what I talk about when I am on sales calls all the time. Is that I bring it up all the time. You have these the four layers of infrastructure here, and when you're getting into this point where you're migrating state around, you're often dealing in this foundational area. And I look at it like you have this skyscraper with a concrete foundation. And in the beginning, you can make a little bit of edits before the concrete cures 100%. But once you built it to spec, you have your skyscraper 100 stories on top of it. Moving state around is something that's just gnarly. You can do it, but I don't know how confident I would be in automating it, especially when we will automate it for this one time and then we will never touch that line of code again. So it's like a tech debt factory. And I love the discipline of it. I love the concept of it. and I get it for software development, and then we should be doing it here too. I get it. But alas, are we going to invest in it? I don't know.
I think all of that's a good point. And, I think about it like database migrations. I want them to be similar, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But the thing is that they're not similar to database migrations is that you only ever apply them once. Database migrations can be Terraform state migrations, you only ever apply once. Database migrations, you bring up your database, you then apply all the
yeah.
migrations to it. But you don't ever need to really do that with Terraform state
Oh,
migrations. So they are more one-off.
playing devil's advocate now that I understand a little bit more, and you brought up the database migration. Like, okay, so you need to make this state migration now to 5 environments, and you're going to roll it out in that order. Okay, I guess that gets really tedious, right? We're not just talking about one environment. So, okay, fair enough. Maybe it does make sense to get really good at doing this first in a scripted, automated way with TF Migrate. Get that working in dev, automate in staging, verify it still worked, and then roll it out in production, hopefully with better luck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the reason I'm trying to solve this is because my client has 8 environments today.
Yeah.
So it's like,
With the same problem.
we have
Eight teralyths.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Fair.
8 tier lists you got to rip apart, and we're doing it. It's just painful.
Yeah, and they're stateful such that you can't just destroy and recreate these environments. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that we were, I had an engineer working on was that we have a root module that was overly large, and it included, the VPC and all the subnets and all this fun
yeah,
stuff.
I see that faux pas frequently.
You want to be pulled apart. Yeah.